Ready? It's gonna be.
Ready.
Stack your entries.
All right, call the meeting to order, 6:01. So can I get a motion to acknowledge receipt and approve the meeting agenda?
I will make a motion to accept the receipt of the agenda.
Second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Next item is the July accounts payable warrant and payroll journal. Any discussion?
None from me.
No, I'm all set.
No discussion, then a motion to acknowledge receipt and approve the July accounts payable warrant and payroll journal.
Motion to acknowledge receipt and approve July accounts payable warrant payroll journal.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes for the regular meeting of July 11th, 2017. Any discussion?
No, I'm all set.
A
Motion to approve the meeting minutes for the regular meeting July 11th, 2017.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item is the acknowledged receipt of the reconciliation reports for July 2017. Any discussion?
I'm good.
I just have one question. The items that were shown as
Yeah,
returned,
return,
have we
yeah.
been,
Those have all been.
so we've all been made whole on it? Okay.
And
I have no further questions. Can I get a motion?
motion to acknowledge receipt of reconciliation report for July 2017.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And the next item is the monthly financial reports, cost comparatives for June 2017. Any discussion?
I'm okay with it.
Did we ever find out what was going on with the gas or the?
I have not looked back at last year, but when Rich Coleman was here in July, the accountant, and he said it should even out. Usually that happens during the year.
So that's the, what's hanging over from the winter
Yeah.
billing? Okay, so next bill we'll probably see that
Okay, good.
normalize.
Okay, good.
I just noticed that we were kind of way ahead on contract costs on the 49-1 program. Total budget to date, and then actual due date. We're about half of what's budgeted.
Right.
And my assumption is it's probably due to maybe delays in construction.
Yeah, we're being included.
Right, I know, it's a nice question to ask, right?
Right,
We're ahead of the
and
game.
it's a good problem to have.
All right, that was the only thing I noticed.
All right, can I get a motion?
Motion to acknowledge receipt of the monthly financial reports and cost comparatives June 2017.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is the monthly director's report. Any discussion?
Just that I'd like to offer the notary service for people if there's a need for notary service, we can set up a time where I could meet with the tenants to notarize documents if they need it.
Anything else? Make a motion.
Motion to acknowledge receipt of the director's report, August 8th, 2017.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item is to acknowledge receipt and discuss the contract agreement with Blue Wave Solar.
So Betsy Glenn from Blue Wave is here to answer any last minute questions.
So I'm here to answer any questions you may have. And I also just was approved on Monday of this week to offer another option. I've heard from some housing authorities that the 8-cent floor combined with a 20-year term is, there are a lot of questions around it, and some people are a little concerned about that price structure. And so on Monday, we got approval from our investment committee to offer a 25% discount with a 0-cent floor. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys know about that opportunity in the event that you prefer the 0-cent floor price combined with a lesser discount. And I know last time I was here, I shared a PowerPoint presentation that had a calculation with the 30% discount, and I have just a page with a 25% discount if it's something you're interested in seeing.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's what we
please.
said.
I just think a little bit of them. Great.
That's it.
Thank you.
I did not bring that previous calculation. I just did it quickly on my phone, and you'll notice in the column labeled total estimated savings low,
Mhm.
the top number there is 18,689. That's the estimated savings that we would have used on the, in the proposal for 25%. And I just calculated on my phone, for the 30%, that top number would be 22,426, a difference of $3,737. And I have them here in a note if you wanted to jot them down.
It makes it a little more attractive.
The 30% is what was proposed previously. So really, I think the difference, the thing to consider, if there's a concern that energy prices are going to drop and you want to have the ability to have no floor on the rate versus the 8 cents with the 30% discount, or no floor and 25% discount.
I don't want to make your decision harder. I just wanted to make sure that you have that.
No, we appreciate
that
more
opportunity to see.
options.
I'll tell you that some of the people in my office were saying, yeah, who cares, 0%, zero floor, because we don't ever think energy prices are going to get below 8 cents anyway, like who cares? And then there are other people saying, yeah, but we have to finance this, and we don't know how everyone's going to react to that kind of, outlook on the project. And so we wanted, there basically was a discussion around hedging against that, moving the floor from 8 cents to 0 cents, by going with the lesser discount of 25%. So there are definitely, I think, there were there are people, in my company who actually just don't ever think the floor is ever going to come into play. But then we felt that we needed to do something so that the deal was still very attractive to finance entities, so that we know we can move forward with it. So if that information is helpful for you in.
It's good to have the options, that way we can,
Yeah.
decide what's going to work better.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts?
Well,
Discussion?
just so everyone knows, the question I had about service to the properties once we relinquish, and I called the power company, talked to 2 different people. That's no longer a policy, so they will maintain the existing infrastructure on the properties. So that was a question I had, and it satisfies me as far as, you know, would we put the housing authority in a bind if that wasn't the case, but no worries.
Okay.
Okay.
And then Paul McPartland from DHCD has responded to questions regarding the contract and what other authorities are doing, and
Yes, I had a long conversation with him by phone to address the concerns I had, and again, he is in favor of these contracts, so I was satisfied after I talked to him.
so then the question is, do we do the 0 floor with the 25% discount, or 8-cent floor with the 30% discount?
I had spoken to somebody about the rate, and they said, well, that sounds, and this is not my purview, so he said that it sounded more like a residential rate, and perhaps that, you know, something around 5% was more of a commercial rate, and I don't know if that's more, you know, if that's a true statement, but, so I think I'd probably lean towards the newer option here based on what I heard in the conversation with him, but I'll certainly.
I mean, comparing it to what we have currently, either option is better than what we have at the moment. So I don't know what, you know, we can only compare it to what our existing rates are and what we've been able to negotiate through splitting up the supplier contract and whatnot. So either one is a better deal than what we have currently negotiated. Any other thoughts?
Could you talk about the difference between the 0 and the 8?
Sure. So if the energy prices, inclusive of distribution, transmission, and supply, drop below, it's somewhere around 11 cents a kilowatt hour, then your 30% off discounted rate would fall down below 8 cents. It would be, say, 7.9 cents, and these are imprecise numbers. But then you would still pay us 8 cents. And then if energy prices got down to 8 cents or even below 8 cents, you would still pay us 8 cents. That's how the floor kicks in.
So I guess it comes into play if people think energy prices are going to be
Yeah,
going down.
right.
You're talking about $3,000 between the 30 and the 25 per year that we're going to save. So because we can't predict what's going to happen with the energy, I mean, I support the 30% because it's going to save us the most right now and projected over time. But
Right. So you'll be saving $3,700 more per year with the 30% off. And, you know, over several years, you know, if the energy market or the price of energy drops dramatically in the future, I don't, no one anticipates that it's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, but if it does far into the future, you will have already saved $3,700 per year.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because if you save money now, if it goes higher, okay, you're gonna spend more, but you're actually getting back to where you would have been if we went the 25%, unless something catastrophe.
But we're still better off than where we are now. So
Oh,
no
yeah.
matter what, we're
Right.
gonna be
Either
better
or,
off than
yeah.
where we are now. So the question, do we wanna roll the dice, or if we think energy prices are gonna drop that dramatically? I mean, I tend to think that the 30% with the floor, given the extra savings and the fact that we're going to see that savings in the foreseeable future, I think that gives the most savings to the authority based on what we know is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors, you know, will the government keep on subsidizing? Will the supply stay stable? Will the demand go down? You know, we're guessing. I would think it would go down, but then the utility companies were saying, well, listen, we're supplying all this infrastructure, we have to charge more for that, so, you know, it's,
So is the debate really more savings versus more protection against the unknown with option B?
would be the 30,000?
B
The
is the
30%.
Yeah, 30.
I think option B is more of a gamble, because we're hoping.
We're
it's
saving,
sustainable.
saving less and
But if
and
it
hoping
doesn't,
that it
we're
comes
gonna
down.
be kicking ourselves.
Right.
Right.
30%. The 30% seems like the thing we should take, because it's something we know we can save right now.
So who's in favor of the 30% discount with the 8?
I just had another question. Has anybody set up a contract where for 10 years, do you split it up at all?
So Kathy had told me that the term was a concern. And
Right.
one of the options that I asked for was a 10-year term. And I was told that our solar project will not be financeable with a
Yeah.
10-year term.
Even
So-
if we commit to 20 years, but after 10 years, it's negotiable? In other words, say we take the 30% now for 10 years with an option for another 10 at a different rate. Is that,
I don't know.
Or your idea, but at the 10-year mark, whatever basis that you use to come up with 8% is re-looked at, and the same basis is used to apply a new number.
But that could be
A new-
12.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, there's a give and take here, and if they're going to expose themselves in year 10, that, you know, now let's take a look at the numbers and things are different. So they're willing to go 20 years to say, all right, we'll guarantee this savings for this rate if it's going to be only locked in for 10 years, and they're borrowing the money to build the project over 20, then there's going to need to be some ability to move in order to cover what could happen, because if prices are dramatically higher,
Right.
then somebody's going to need to be making up that difference.
Right,
how much of the project is sold out, do you know? Is it, 50%, 80?
It's not quite 50% sold out yet. We've got about 3.5 or 4 megawatts sold.
Did you get to read the email that I forwarded from Paul this afternoon?
Yeah, briefly.
So the only lasting thought he left was, he felt this is the time for housing authorities to get into a contract, because these deals are probably not gonna be around
Right.
next year when they rewrite the regulations.
Well, we're definitely gonna do something. It's just, what are we gonna do, you know?
I mean, either one is better than what we're doing. So I mean,
Right,
that we
right,
know.
right.
So the question is, which option is better?
Our own windmill right here.
If it's helpful at all, both the 25 and the 30 are better discounts than we've offered in the past, and that we've seen others offer in the past for housing authorities.
And that was kind of what Paul had indicated.
Right.
And it doesn't matter to us which you choose. We would be happy for you to, it's not like we would favor one or the other, I think. We're really
Yeah,
trying to provide.
so.
To me, without looking at the actual math, my instinct is always to kind of guard against potential disasters. So that's kind of that's where I'm coming from when I'm looking at 25% and a 0% floor. That's my main concern, and I completely understand the other side of it, where take the most savings you can get right off the bat. But, this first option was put out to the marketplace, and the market, a lot of people took it, but a lot of people said, well, what about, is there another option? You know what I mean? And that's why they've come up with the second one. So, without,
If these offers go away, what's gonna happen to the leftover capacity, price-wise? What will that do? I would think it would make it more expensive, right?
Mhm. So that's my concern anyway.
I mean, I honestly, I'm not thinking that energy prices are going to be going down dramatically.
Yeah.
I think based on what we've seen in, you know, historical, and then as you do away with a lot of tax incentives that are in place now for a lot of these projects, if those go away, then that only increases the cost of producing this type of energy.
Good point.
So who would be in favor of opting for the 0 floor with the 25% discount?
Like I say, I'm in favor of either one of them over what we have now, but I'd be leaning towards 25 and 0, but I wouldn't oppose the other one either.
So given the choice with John on the record for that, and then the 30% discount with the 8-cent floor.
It's awful hard to gauge the future.
Right, yeah, right.
Right,
You're being asked to
right.
predict the future, right, so it's awfully difficult to do.
You know, whoever thought we'd go through a gas crisis back, you know, there's a lot of things you never thought would happen, but happened. So I'm kind of leaning now towards John, that be conservative, and it's not my money, it's, you know, it's not my house, it's somebody else's house.
Because this whole idea is based on the idea that we need to get power from the big solar field down in Westport.
Right.
And if that need goes away over the next 20 years, that's, I guess, you know, and again, who knows? But that would be the concern, I guess, and how that would fit into the math.
Which way are you leaning?
I think the 30%, I mean, it's a bigger savings. It gives us a, you know, if you look at the discounted cash flows of being able to save for the next 5 to 10 years, which is the most foreseeable future, then even if energy prices were to fall in year 12, we have saved
Right, right.
a significant amount of money earlier on that they would have to drop to like really ridiculously low amounts to even come close to offsetting that amount that we've saved now. And that's assuming that that even happens. And then if it doesn't, and say energy prices go up, then we're paying 5% more than we would necessarily need to.
That argument could be used in reverse, I think. Yeah, so is the price gonna go up or is it gonna go down? That's the question. You know?
Yeah, like about how many years before?
Yeah, I mean, do you
Yeah.
think in the next 5 to 10 years, we're gonna see that
Who knows?
plummet?
Who knows? That's the problem. I think, you know, overall, they're probably pretty close to each other because, like Steve said, if you gain and then you lose, you're almost back to where you would have been conservative. you
And
know?
they've run the numbers so that they
Yeah.
can get this financed, so they've
Right.
hedged
Right,
it so that
right.
either way, they're not gonna be in a position where they can't afford to pay for it. So,
Mm.
Jill,
Well, I kind of see your point, that, yeah, it's gonna take a while you know, if we save it right at the beginning, you know, it would take a while for that to even out even. You know what I'm saying? If we save right at the beginning,
Yeah,
it would take a while for that to even out
right.
if they went below that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's almost a toss-up. I mean, depending on your opinion, whether prices are gonna go up or go down, or some world event will affect everything, you know, I mean,
And, you know, none of us honestly are qualified to make that kind of
Right.
guesstimation as
Right.
what
Right.
energy prices.
right, I mean,
If we were,
right.
we,
wouldn't be
yeah.
sitting here.
yeah,
It's like trying to,
my boat would be a lot bigger than it is,
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right
I
now.
mean, like, is wheat gonna go up tomorrow, is cotton coming, you know, we don't have that expertise, you know.
But what we do know is that based on what we're paying now, if we save 30% off of that,
Yeah,
Right,
then even that is
Yeah.
a savings regardless of what prices might happen. So if you
Right.
just look at what we're paying now versus what we can save, you know, we can get caught up in the, well, what if something better comes along down the road? Maybe, but based
Yeah.
on what we're paying now and what we can save, you know, I think that gives us the, you know, the better cash flow option to be able to increase the amount that we save.
yeah.
And, you know, it's significantly better than what we're paying now.
So the savings is $3,000 a year annually, right, or the difference between the two?
3,700.
Yeah, so let's say over the first 10 years, you save 37 grand. Are you gonna lose, what are the chances of losing 37 grand over the next 10 if the rates tank or worst case scenario happens? You know, I guess that's the,
Betsy, after 10 years, can we renegotiate the contract? Is that my understanding?
No, it's over a 20-year.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
20.
It's a 20-year term.
Okay.
I've never asked the question about renegotiating after 10 years, but I suspect that, like you mentioned, all of the finances are built based on what the contracts say now. And so we would need them to hold constant, I think, for 20 years.
And when you factor in, you know, the discounted cash flow and the time value of money, it's more than $37,000 over a period of 10 years because of the fact that $3,700 today is
Right.
worth a whole lot more than it's going to be in 10 years.
right. Are you surprised that Plan B or Option B didn't come with like some sort of floor over 0%? You know what I mean? Like it's surprisingly from 8 to 0
Yeah,
instead of 8 to 2 or 8 to 3.
yeah. There's no option there. This is kind of the best deal that you've really presented to
And
anybody.
that was me saying, I think what housing authorities want is an option that is, you know, I don't wanna say no risk, but there's no, I think that what some of the housing authorities are looking for is something that doesn't, you know, offer any opportunity for even 1 year of,
Yeah,
you know,
fluctuation
an
and,
off year
yeah.
with energy.
But I think the fact that they went down to 0 to willing to do that shows that they're convinced that it's not going to be.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
will
mean.
say
Like, what do you
this,
take from
I
it?
did ask
Just what do
for
you take?
a 0
Yeah.
cent floor and 30%, and they were like, ha, ha, ha. No, we couldn't, we wouldn't know, we wouldn't be able to build a project with that financing, so. That's when we landed on that 25%.
have a vote in.
All right, so for the 0 and 25%, who would prefer that option?
I think I would prefer that option.
I'm leaning that way.
I'm risk averse. That's where I'm coming from. But yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
And the difference over 10 years is 37,000.
Not factoring
Kind of
in
flat.
time value of money.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's an estimated number too, but.
Yeah.
So if energy prices don't go down, then we've lost $3,700 a year in cash flow that can go to fund projects.
Yeah, paid for an engineer to design a window trim. I don't know, John, it's not a big, 37,000 over 10 years, but, look at the other 10 years, that's even more shady as to where we're gonna be, so, I don't know, geez, it's a tough one.
What protection does the zero floor give us, like in real terms? You know what I mean? Like, how does that work in real numbers, I guess, or what?
So right now, energy prices are about 16.5 cents per kilowatt hour.
Yeah,
And if that number dropped to 5 cents, you would still pay 25% less than that.
right. And then,
If you have an 8-cent floor and energy prices drop to 5 cents, you would be paying us 8 cents a kilowatt hour.
and I don't recall that there's no like buyout provision or anything like that in the contract, right?
No, because they need to go to the market, they need to go
Yeah.
to the bank and get it financed. So if they're, to do that and people have the option to wiggle out of it, then they don't have any way to show there's a cash flow to pay for it.
Right.
Right.
So they're getting a mortgage on the project with the cash flows that say, well, we're agreeing to buy the energy that it produces at this rate to help to pay for it.
So you're gambling on whether it's gonna go below 8 cents.
Right.
Yep,
That's the gamble.
yeah.
And, that's pretty unlikely, really, when you think about it, what the prices are now.
Right.
So if you look at it, from that view, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
That's how I'm looking at it, that the odds of it going below 8 cents and for any extended period of time that would offset that 5% delta between the 25 and the 30, I personally, I think that's highly unlikely.
Mm.
I'm sorry I didn't get this information sooner to you guys for discussing, but when we started our sales for this project that we're selling for, I met with Paul McPartland and I told him we were offering 30% discount. He, said, oh, that's pretty good. And he said, what's the floor? And I said, it's a 10-cent floor. And he said, if you get it down to 8, I think it'd be really good. So 8 was his request, really.
I think I just convinced myself to go the other way and
The 30.
do the 30. When you look at it at 8 cents, and then, you're betting on it going lower, and if it only goes to 7, it doesn't matter how low it goes, right? Once you go below 8, you're gonna pay 8,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And
So the
all
bet
it-
is it gonna go from 8 to 7, or 7 to
Right,
4?
and until it hits 37 grand, or, thereabouts, the opposite way, you're covered, or
Right,
you'll always
right.
break even. All right, I've been convinced. I don't want to stand in the way of progress. I want us to save some money,
Right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
all right.
All right, so get a motion to approve the contract agreement with Blue Wave Solar for the 8-cent floor with the 30% discount.
Is that a motion,
I was
Needs a motion.
encouraging a motion.
or, you'd have to read it off again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move, make a motion to,
So if we get a motion to approve the contract agreement with Blue Wave Solar under the pricing structure of the 8-cent floor with the 30% discount for the 20-year period.
you writing that down? I can't remember about that.
All right, so a motion to acknowledge receipt of the contract agreement with Blue Wave Solar with the 30% discount option and 8% floor.
8 cent.
8 cent, what did I say? I meant 8-cent floor.
Second?
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Da-da-da-da.
Thank you. Then the next item on the agenda is the 5-year capital improvement plan. Years 2017 to 2021 for the Federal Mass 49-1. Have any discussion? So this is required so that we kind of put out there things that are on the horizon for
Okay.
capital projects that need to be done, so we can plan on a more longer term,
Yep.
term basis. If something comes up, obviously, we can be able to adjust this, but this
Mhm.
gives us a framework to kind of forecast and know what we
Is that
have.
in this? Is this a,
It was in the
Packet?
email that Kathy sent.
which one is it?
No, I wonder if it was
I
in
don't
the
think
second
you got
one.
it.
No, it's in the first one. CP annual statement, it's called.
CPA, CP annual?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. Come on, be nice to me. Yeah, how does that do that? It bugs that.
Yeah, you have to turn the lock on, yeah, or turn your head sideways.
I guess I should have done that.
Any discussion?
So these numbers are just guesstimates, total estimates?
Just kind of placeholders so that we have
Mhm.
some
Yep.
idea of big projects that are on the horizon, and we can try to prioritize things that need to be done.
Did I see more windows in here, or there more window replacements anywhere? So we're just gonna do the central and,
Well, this is for
This
central.
is-
This is just
Yeah, this
central,
is just
okay.
for the HUD one.
I don't have any questions.
I'm all
So
set.
if no further discussion, if I get a motion to acknowledge receipt and approve the annual statement for the CFP 2017 and the 5-year action plan for the years 2017 to 2021 for program Mass 49-1.
Motion to acknowledge receipt, approve the annual statement for CFP 2017 and the 5-year action plan for the years 2017, 2021 for program MA 49-1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is, we have a change order for the asbestos abatement for the window project. There's a change order for Verica Construction in the amount of $28,560 for the Central Park window replacement project. As you know, we uncovered the, was the insulation,
There's some caulking and some of the house wrap, tar paper has a percentage of asbestos.
Asbestos.
I'm all set with it.
someone make a motion?
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt and approve change order number 2 to the contract of Riga Construction in the amount of $28,560 for the Central Park window replacement project. Change order number 2 is for the asbestos abatement of the existing windows prior to removal and replacement.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then the next item is to acknowledge receipt and approve the award of the construction contract for project 264048 for Wheeler Park Boiler Replacement Phase 2 to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Riverdale Plumbing and Heating, Inc., in the amount of $128,000.
You don't have to give me the name. What was the difference between first and second? About?
I think they were all pretty competitive.
I didn't bring a bid tonight.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't glaring, was it? It
No.
was pretty close. Yeah, Riverdale, they're a good outfit.
Yeah,
Mm.
good.
Motion to acknowledge receipt and approve the award with a construction contract for project 264048, WP boiler replacement, phase 2 to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, to Riverdale Plumbing and Heating, Inc., in the amount of $128,000.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Then for old business, we have the water and sewer bills updates. That information has been forwarded along, still working on that. No update at this point. And then Lawson Green Apartments development update. The formal application for the comprehensive permit has been submitted to DHCD. So when they get it, they will come out, do a site visit, inspect the grounds, and they will then forward the 30-day letter to the Board of Selectmen beyond that, so.
Right. And they're not looking for anything else from us? Certified plot plans or
Not.
elevations? Or
Nope.
not at this point?
Nope.
Okay.
So that is it, so then if there's nothing further, then a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.